Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into perplexing mysteries. Today, we're unraveling a case that has haunted the collective psyche for nearly 2 decades, the baffling disappearance of Maura Murray. This isn't just a story, it's a maze of enigmas, a tangle of false leads, and a life that seemed to be spiraling into an abyss. So, sit tight and maybe grab a cup of tea or coffee, because we're about to venture into a labyrinth that has both captivated and frustrated countless people around the globe. Alright, let's take a step back and really get to know Maura Murray. You see, she wasn't just a name in a news article or a face on a missing person poster. She was a 21-year-old nursing student, a young woman with a future that should have been wide open. She was smart, like really smart. Friends and family would often talk about her intelligence as if it were a light that couldn't be dimmed. She was also an athlete, someone who knew the value of discipline and hard work. But here's where the story starts to get complicated. Maura had a past, and it wasn't all rosy. She faced theft charges at one point, and she had incidents of drunk driving. It's easy to label her, to put her into a box based on these facts, but that would be a grave injustice to her and the multifaceted human being she was. She had layers, complexities, and like all of us, she had her struggles. She was not a saint, but she was not just a sinner either. She was human, with all the beauty and flaws that come with it. So, as we delve deeper into the enigma that is Maura Murray, let's not forget that at the center of all these theories, speculations, and investigations is a young woman who laughed, who cried, who loved, and who, most importantly, is still missing. Okay, let's get into the night that changed everything. The night Maura Murray vanished. Picture this, it's a frigid February evening in 2004. The kind of night where your breath turns to mist as soon as it leaves your mouth. Maura is in her dorm room, hastily packing her belongings. She's got this look on her face, a mix of determination and maybe desperation. She sends an email to her professor, lying about a death in the family, and says she'll be away for a week. Why the lie? What was so urgent? She gets into her car and drives. The destination? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? She ends up in Woodsville, New Hampshire, on a snowy, almost ethereal road. But then, tragedy strikes. Her car crashes on a bend. It's not a high-speed crash. It's almost as if the car just gave up, like it knew something we don't. Now, here's where things get even more perplexing. Witnesses at the scene say that Maura seemed agitated but declined any help. I've got this, she might have thought. I don't need anyone. But when the police arrive, she's gone. Vanished. As if swallowed by the night itself. So, what led her to that bend in the road? Was it fate? A series of unfortunate decisions? Or something more sinister? And the question that haunts everyone to this day, where did Maura Murray go after her car came to that jolting stop? It's a question that chills us to the bone because it has no answer, at least not yet. Alright, let's talk about what happened right after Maura's car was found abandoned. You'd expect a full-blown search, helicopters in the sky, dogs on the ground, something out of a movie, right? But here's the kicker, the initial police response was, let's just say, less than Hollywood. Sure, they combed through the surrounding woods, but it was like searching for a needle in a haystack. A very cold, very dark haystack. Imagine being one of those officers, flashlight in hand, trudging through the snow. Every broken branch might be a clue, every footprint a sign. But as the hours turn into days, the hope that was once a roaring fire dwindles down to a flickering flame. They questioned her friends, her family, anyone who might have had a clue about where she could be. But it was like trying to complete a puzzle with half the pieces missing. And let's not forget about her family. Can you even begin to grasp the emotional turmoil they were going through? Their daughter, sister, friend, just gone. And the people who are supposed to have answers, the police, come up empty-handed. It's a parent's worst nightmare, a sibling's unbearable agony, and a friend's heart-wrenching sorrow. So, despite the flurry of activity, the initial investigation hit a dead end. It was as if Maura had become a ghost, leaving behind not just a grieving family and a puzzled community, but also a series of bewildering clues that seemed to lead nowhere. A life half-lived, and a mystery fully formed. Okay, folks, fasten your seatbelts because we're about to dive into the rabbit hole of theories surrounding Maura's disappearance. Now, the internet is a wild place, and when it comes to unsolved mysteries like this one, you better believe it's a breeding ground for speculation. I mean, there are forums, Reddit threads, and even dedicated websites that dissect every single detail of this case. It's like a web of endless possibilities, and we're all caught in it. So, let's start with the plausible theories. Some people believe Maura might have staged her own disappearance to start anew. Given her troubled past, it's not entirely out of the question. She was facing legal issues, academic pressures, and who knows what else. Could she have seen this as her only way out? Then there's the theory that she was abducted. This one sends chills down my spine. Imagine being in a vulnerable state, stranded on a snowy road, and then someone takes advantage of that situation. It's terrifying to think about, but it's a possibility we can't ignore. Now, let's get a bit more out there. Some theories suggest she was a spy or in witness protection. Yeah, you heard me right. These are the kinds of theories that sound like they're straight out of a spy novel or a Hollywood script. But hey, truth can be stranger than fiction, right? And then there are the heartbreaking theories that she succumbed to the elements. Lost, cold, and alone, could she have wandered off and not been able to find her way back? The thought is unbearable, but it's a theory that has to be considered. Each theory is like a thread in a complex tapestry of human emotion, logic, and sometimes sheer imagination. And the thing is, any one of these threads could be the one that leads us to the truth, or they could all be leading us further into a labyrinth of confusion and despair. So, as we sift through these theories, it's important to remember that at the heart of all this speculation is a young woman who vanished, leaving behind a family that's still searching for answers. And maybe, just maybe, one of these theories holds the key to unlocking this enduring mystery. Alright, let's fast forward to April 2019. A glimmer of hope emerged that had everyone, family, friends, and the army of online sleuths, on the edge of their seats. The setting, an empty house, eerily close to where Maura's car was found all those years ago. Can you feel that? That's the weight of collective anticipation. A heavy air of maybe this is it, a moment that could potentially end years of torment and unanswered questions. The basement of this vacant house became the focal point of renewed investigations. I can only imagine the tense atmosphere as investigators descended those steps, the creaking of the wooden stairs echoing the pounding of hearts. Each shovelful of dirt lifted seemed like a grasp for truth, a reach into the dark abyss hoping to pull out something, anything that would shed light on Maura's disappearance. But as the hours ticked by, that hope started to wane. The investigators' faces grew longer, the atmosphere heavier, and then the crushing blow, nothing. No evidence, no clues, no answers. Just an empty basement in an empty house, mirroring the emptiness felt by all those who have been yearning for closure. It was another agonizing dead end in a labyrinth of disappointments. The emotional toll of this search, not just on Maura's family but also on the community that has been so invested in finding her, is immeasurable. It's like having a wound that started to heal ripped wide open again. So, here we are, back to square one, but not really. Because every dead end, every fruitless search adds another layer to this complex story. It's a grim reminder that the search for Maura is far from over, and the fight for truth, as exhausting as it may be, must go on. Let's take a moment to step back from the theories, the investigations, and the media frenzy. At the core of this enigmatic case is a family that has been living in a state of suspended agony for years. Can you even begin to fathom the emotional toll this has taken on them? It's like being stuck in a never-ending nightmare, one where you're constantly searching but never finding. Maura's family has been through the ringer. Imagine the countless sleepless nights, the endless what-ifs, and the haunting thought that maybe, just maybe, they missed something that could bring Maura back or at least provide some semblance of closure. They've been thrust into a spotlight they never asked for. Their private pain laid bare for public consumption. Yet, they've handled it with a grace and resilience that's nothing short of awe-inspiring. They've participated in searches, they've spoken to the media, and they've even had to endure the agony of false alarms, like the 2019 basement search we just talked about. And now, they've come to a heartbreaking conclusion. They believe Maura is no longer alive. But even that grim acceptance doesn't bring closure. It's a wound that won't heal, a question that lingers in the air. Where is she? What really happened? The family's pain is a poignant reminder that behind all the speculation, the podcasts, and the online debates, there are real people suffering. Their lives have been irrevocably altered, and they're still waiting for the day when they can finally say goodbye, properly mourn, and perhaps find a way to heal. So, as we delve deeper into this case, let's not forget the human aspect, the raw emotional underbelly that makes this not just a mystery to be solved but a tragedy that has deeply affected a family and a community. As we near the end of this labyrinthine journey, we're left grappling with questions that have no easy answers, questions that have haunted investigators, armchair detectives, and most painfully, Maura's family for nearly 2 decades. It's like a puzzle with missing pieces, and each piece is a question mark that adds another layer of complexity to an already bewildering case. Why did Maura lie about a family death? Was it a spur-of-the-moment decision, or was it part of a larger, more intricate plan? And if it was a plan, what was its purpose? Was she running from something, or perhaps running towards something? Where was she going? The snowy roads of Woodsville, New Hampshire, are far from an ideal destination for a young woman traveling alone. Was she meeting someone? Was she trying to escape her life, even if just for a little while? And the most haunting question of all, is Maura still out there? Could she be living under a different identity, in a different city, or even a different country? Or has she met a more tragic fate, one that has kept her from ever returning to the people who love and miss her? These questions are the ghosts that haunt this case, and until they're answered, the story of Maura Murray will remain an open wound in the hearts of those who seek the truth. As we close the book on this episode, it's evident that the story of Maura Murray is far from over. It's a narrative that continues to captivate, to mystify, and to sadden. It's a stark reminder of how quickly a life can change, how swiftly a person can vanish, leaving behind a void filled with questions, theories, and broken hearts. Thank you for joining me on this emotional and perplexing deep dive into a case that has both baffled and haunted us. As we go about our lives, let's not forget the lessons this story teaches us: to be vigilant, to be curious, and above all, to be compassionate towards those who are suffering. Stay safe out there, everyone. Keep asking questions, keep seeking the truth, and most importantly, keep your loved ones close. You never know what tomorrow may bring.